I guess my question is, where does this idea of a tyrannical majority come from? Since it seems that in a socialist democratic, or even in just an ideally democratic society, you could have protections for minorities, even though generally perhaps majority rule. It doesn't seem that these two things are
Say it again, please.
It doesn't seem inconsistent that in an ideally democratic society, perhaps a socialist society, that you could have protections for minorities, perhaps groups of people who don't agree with the forms of taxation that are general in that society. It doesn't seem like you could have, it doesn't seem inconsistent to have those protections for minorities while generally majority does rule in that society. So I would like to...
What's the question in there?
I would like to understand why you assume that a democratic society, I guess of the form that they're suggesting, would necessarily mean a tyrannical majority.
Because it's not, do I have to repeat that? Because it's not voluntary. So, I mean, what's being left out is, one, there's an assumption being made that if you're not born rich, then you're going to have nothing and you're never going to be able to obtain anything, which is completely false. There's dozens of stories out there where people were born into nothing and made a lot of themselves. So that's a complete false assumption. And the second thing is, there's a difference in voluntary and involuntary and legitimate and not legitimate. A voluntary agreement is a legitimate agreement. So a mortgage is legitimate because it's voluntary. Taxation is illegitimate because now you're laying a claim to somebody's money, which they gained, because they own themselves. That's an illegitimate claim. So that's being lost in this whole thing. There is legitimate and illegitimate. Legitimate is voluntary. Illegitimate is involuntary. So going back to our initial premise is, yes, you can have protection for minorities in a socialist society. I'm not saying that you can't, but it's how they are funded that makes them illegitimate. When you steal from somebody to give protections to somebody else, that's illegitimate, and you're laying a claim that you own them. So the question is, do you own yourself or do you not own yourself? It is that simple.
Thank you.
Well, you can disagree, but you can't. How? How do you lay a claim to me? How? You'll never win the argument with me that you can better determine.
Using your taxes. I might be using his taxes.
But I'm still taxed. But I'm still taxed, and it's involuntary.
Why should you reap the benefits of living in society?
Hold on. We are not going to have that kind of anarchy. Sorry.
I would like to make clarity. That's chaos, not anarchy.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.